You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging with you guys, and good morning. Well, really pumped today to bring you guys another great guest interview. Today, we're hanging out with a really good friend of mine and somebody that you guys have hopefully heard at least once or twice before on the podcast. I know we've been partnered up here for a little while, and it's just so great to be able to get some of the company folks on that just give us the tools and the resources we need, right, to grow our businesses and to get the job done. Super excited about having a returning guest and friend of ours, Mr. Brandon King, joining us from BillyGoat, the director now of product management. So a little promotion there. Congratulations, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Brian. Appreciate the opportunity, and thanks for having me on again. I always love doing this show with you, and I always love the conversation and love the knowledge we share back and forth. So always appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, hey, it's fun. It's great. Every year that we get you back on, we're growing. Our sales are up, and you're getting promotions, and I think you're like running the show now over there in a couple different capacities. So what's the last 12, 18 months of your life been like? It's been crazy over here. I can imagine it's the same over for you.
It has been indeed. So, I mean, BillyGoat is still going, still selling products, still trying to take over the market in any way, shape, or form we can. Still have the solid portfolio of chore products, and have continued to try to push new things out into the market any way we can. So there's a few things coming new on P2000s that are going to be hitting the market this fall, including a forward blow discharge, and as well as there's some leaf plows that are going to be available from a partner of ours called Detach. So leaf plows, as you know, help with productivity a lot. Forward blow discharge on the P2 now enables your left and right blowing machine to blow forward. So that's going to be a nice little accessory that can bolt onto your machine and give you some productivity. Beyond the product side, I mean, I think you had mentioned it. I'm now the director of product management. So I've been spending a little bit of my time, and I say a little, a good amount of my time taking a deep dive into the Ferris portfolio that's now under my purview as well. So that's kind of what's been going on inside here.
Busy.
And now we're getting very, very busy, and we're heading towards fall. So the factory's humming. We're building backs and blowers and loaders and trying to keep up with demand and make sure everybody's got their product ready for dealers and for contractors to pick them up and go do some serious business this fall.
I love it. Well, it's always a fun conversation getting the BillyGoat team on. We've had so many great folks, both on the podcast and then also in person for the YouTube channel. So if you guys don't know, we've spent our own money buying our BillyGoat product. I have not received, best I can remember, think out loud, just thinking out lout as I say this, I've never received anything, quote unquote, for free from BillyGoat, or even, product in exchange for a review. So when I say that I'm a fan and I enjoy my BillyGoat products, I've put my cash money where my mouth is. We've bought our P2000, gosh, probably 3 years ago now. I think we got it right in the tail end of the COVID pandemic starting, which means I got my better pricing on it than it is today. just like any other piece of outdoor power equipment, which is just a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. And then same year, or maybe even the fall before, we had bought the BillyGoat DB18, the debris loader. That's that green snorkel looking like guy that's on the front of our trailer. And really, a lot of you guys listening in, if you know, like the last 4 or 5 years of my company have just been like transformative. Like we've made investments in the trucks, in the trailers, a dump insert, and then really we had so much opportunity here in Michigan to make more revenue, extend the season, both spring and fall, with leaf cleanups are a huge part of our business model, and really. The struggle, at least I have with leaves, Brandon, is like, where do you put them? How do you bag them? And how do you be efficient at it? And I personally don't think there's anybody out there in the marketplace that is making the same quality of machines or efficient machines than BillyGoat. And I it's not lip service here when I say that. I genuinely believe that, because when I'm choosing to spend my 5, 10, 15, 20 grand outfitting our rigs and our future rigs, that's what I went with. That's who I know. That's what I know. And that's what I believe is the best of the best. So I'll volley that back to you, Brandon. But you guys are really helping a lot of contractors make a lot of money and a lot of profit, and really, in different niche parts of the season to be the most effective out there with their business.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we've tried to architect the portfolio to be able to get people started, get people enticed into the business with a lower cost set of products, and then it scales as you start to scale your business. So like you say, you started with the DL18. Our most popular debris loader right out is going to be the Electric Start DL18. Great to get people going, great for leaf cleanup, residential yards. And it's not going to be that bad of a cost expense to get the product going. What the bigger expense will be is always that trailer. What am I going to hook it to, and where am I going to store that, and then where am I going to be able to take it and dump it to? So those are like the initial points of learning how to get into the business. But then where you back that productivity is with a ride-on, stand-on blower. So we have a little, a medium, and a big, just like we do in the debris loaders. We got a small, a medium, and a huge. So you start out with a P2000, a DL18, the exact setup that you got yourself started out with. And again, we're adding things to try to help the productivity. And leaf plows and forward blows are two things that I can get very, very excited about.
That's
leaf
huge.
plow primarily.
That's huge.
Leaf plow primarily. So I finally got a chance to do a job myself with a leaf plow, and I had never done one before. I'd seen them all up in the northeast of the country, and I finally got one stuck on the P2000. I got to push some serious leaves with it, and my jaw opened up like, oh my God, this makes this so much easier to transport a huge volume of leaves. Because as you're getting the pile closer and closer to the debris loader, there always becomes this problem where the blower's too powerful. It overblows the pile, blows it past the debris loader, or covers the person there with a rake. So you end up now with the plow, once I get within that last 10 feet, I shut the blower doors off. I just close the doors, use the plow, and just shove it right in there. And you can move that pile and put it right where you want to without blowing the leaves everywhere and having to constantly keep cleaning up as you're trying to move the pile to the end. So leaf plows are a game changer.
That's so
and the
cool.
fact that we can stick them on, there's now a kit, again, through our partner Detach, ready to go kit, tailor-made for the P2, for the X3, and for the Z3 with their pile driver leaf plow. You can order it through Detach. Goes right onto the machine. It is such a game changer for productivity. So we'll be looking to see if we maybe could find one for you to try, but I know you're probably chomping at the bit to get one stuck on your P2000. But
we're ready for one. Whether BillyGoat and us partner up to get one to share with everybody and show a little bit more how it works or not, we're right there, because we were thinking about that last fall. Because again, doesn't matter your leaf blower, your stand-on leaf blower from pick your brand. Once you have, guys, especially in the New England states for sure, where I see a lot of these leaf plows, and I've got, oh my gosh, dozens of buddies that have sent me, and I've seen them over the years. Those videos and reels usually go viral because, in the New England states, you guys are pushing 2, 3, 4 feet tall of leaves on an acre. I mean, crazy leaves. And eventually, like, leaf blowers just become a little ineffective when you have like an acre of leaves. Once you've made your 10, 20, 30 feet of windrowing, eventually that pile gets so big, and it's like, well, shoot, we're still 30 feet from the road. what do we do? And so many guys use their leaf rakes and or whatever you guys call them, leaf plow, and then they also from the backyard, they'll just take it and just shotgun and run it. Now, granted, I don't know if I can say this out loud. Our hillbilly approach, Brandon, before that, of course, was you just drop the mower deck and you just kind of, grade your leaves all the way to the front yard, a bulldozer, if you will. But it's definitely not as effective as those leaf plows. I have a couple buddies I know that have them. They love them. They swear by them. It's a nominal investment. I don't know the price point on them, but it's less than a couple grand. And that, again, it just helps you with efficiency and productivity in a season that, admittedly feels shorter every year. Every year it feels like it gets colder, darker, and more snowy, year over year. And I'm like, maybe it's just me becoming older. Maybe I'm just more aware, but it always seems like we have never enough time to get all of our cleanups done. And frankly, like, once it snows, mentally the customers are done. They're like, hey, we're in snow. We don't want to pay for leaves. It's Thanksgiving. So we do not, I'm telling you guys honestly, like, my guys know, we do not want to leave any revenue on the table that's humanly possible going into fall for padding stats for payroll and above or for winter, right? So it's like, it's an incredibly important 4 to 6 week window in my company. And I'm sure a lot for you guys' company as well. So that's what we've been reinvesting and expanding into the BillyGoat line over the last couple of years. And by the way, some more investments to come. So I'm really, really excited about that. Brandon, any thoughts on that, piggybacking off of that?
Well, yeah, so a couple of things there. One, can confirm, I think that was the exact way I used to have to push leaves back in my contractor days as a zero-turn mower. You would just use the deck, shut the blades off, and just try to push it with like the deck as your like pseudo plow. But yeah, so I do recall those days as well.
So funny.
And then we mentioned the Northeast, right? And how big the leaf piles do get when you get into the heart of leaf season up in the Northeast and New England areas. And it's funny up there, they won't even touch the P2000. It's too small.
Right. Sure. So I can imagine.
As you scale your business and you get into those areas where it's more and more dense leaves and super high volume resi, you've got to make the jump up from either the X3000 or all the way to the Z3000 because it's not enough power to move a pile that's the size of a Suburban is what you're ultimately going to end up trying to do. So yeah, you're scaling up. You scale up from your P2 and your DL18 up in the Northeast. You're going to see Z3000s and either the DL37, 30 horsepower direct drive, or even our big leaf Dragon, which is a 37 horsepower, side by side belt drive that's got its own trailer and everything with it. You need that level of equipment in order to maintain that volume of leaves in the short time window, especially with dealing with the weather, dealing with all of your labor shortages, your contractor issues, like people that don't want to show up. You've got to have that high volume productivity, or like you say, you leave a ton of money on the table.
Yeah.
So you did mention you're talking about upgrades. Mm-hmm. You're thinking about upgrading your equipment. Can you walk me through like what went through your head? How did you know that it was going to be time for you to take your jump from the DL18 and P2 up to what's going to be your next step in equipment?
I'll tell you exactly what it was. And by the way, great question. By the way, we don't script any of this, guys, just so you know. Like Brandon's actually really good with people skills, like pitching and catching. So just a little elephant in the room. We don't have a script here. I don't do scripts with any of the brands unless maybe one or two companies have one or two points, but usually we just BS. I'm like, dude, let's just talk shop. I try to keep it unfiltered, try to keep it unscripted. But that is actually a really good question. I'll tell you exactly what happened, Brandon. My mom, and so many people know this, I might have talked about this on a podcast before. Ironically enough, about a mile up the road from where my current house is, and that we're building, which is totally random, my mom inherited a home. A lady passed away and literally willed her a home. I mean, like totally luck of the draw. Like the nicest lady on planet Earth ended up willing this home to my mom. And my mom's like, my mom's never had a home. She's got a mobile home that, I grew up in. But we're on like a 2-acre lot over here, and it's like thick forest woods, tons and tons of leaves. I had just bought my BillyGoat, I don't know, maybe the season or something before. And, normally I'm in the subdivisions. They got two little, maple trees, Bradford pears up front. 2 or 3 trees, like maybe on the whole property, nothing crazy. A leaf cleanup, we could, with a bagger on a mower and then a P2000 and some leaf blowers and, the DL18, we're in and out in an hour and a half, 2 hours for a $300 to $500 leaf cleanup, a very standard cleanup that so many of you guys do. Well, basically my mom's like, hey, this site has to get cleaned up. Like we got to get it ready to sell next spring. We got to get it staged. And, I was like, yeah, I got a leaf loader and a debris loader. Let's go do a cleanup. And so my mom's like, pay me cash money, to take care of this thing. And I'm trying to give her the friends and family discount to, just help mom out, for crying out loud. Well, we go there and this was like a home in the New England states. I mean, there was a 2-acre property that had the lady was very old. She was like 88 years old. She hadn't really maintained the exterior of the property in years. So there was 4 or 5 years of leaves and debris and sticks. And basically we got it all roadside. We got it all curbside. The BillyGoat did its number. I think back then I had a leaf mounted blower on the front of my mower from a different brand. And we were just doing the best we could to get this thing done. Well, we finally get it curbside, but the problem is, again, in the Michigan and part of the Midwest, it always seems to be so wet and rainy in the spring and the fall. Like you're trying to get things done in like some of the most miserable conditions possible. And so the DB or the DL18, like it was doing its job. We were kicking butt. And then I remember we got to this like 20-foot long strip that was about 4 feet wide of just sticks. And, it's a leaf loader, not a stick loader, right? And it didn't matter what we did. We were just building a bird's nest, with all this wet mud and sticks and blowing through tree lines with like the, the dirt that's under like a pine tree or an evergreen. So,
sure.
So we were making this like mud hut stick bird nest thing. And I'm like, this is miserable. This is not working. We're not being efficient. And I had decided like at that point, I'm like, you know what? We're about due to upgrade to a bigger debris loader. And I don't know all the exact diameter sizes of the tubes and the hoses, but if you look at the BillyGoat DL18 versus the 37, I mean, you could fit a dang basketball in there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a 13-inch opening or something maybe? Do you happen to know offhand?
I think it goes up to a 12-inch. I believe the intake is a 12-inch on the DL37. I think you're coming up from a 10 or an 8-inch on the DL18. So it's a substantial jump, and you're more than double the horsepower, right? You're going from 18 horse to 37. So it's
exactly
substantial.
Yeah. So that's when my guy Rob and I were like, you know what? We're getting bigger in cleanups every day. We just hit capacity, and I'm like, you know what? If we're getting into these larger properties and these bigger estates and these bigger commercial sites, now at the time our portfolio has been changing to a lot of commercial sites. All those talking points you just had a second ago about time and efficiency and how long you can stay on site, that's exactly where my business is. I don't think anybody listening to this, guys, you'd think that this would be a pitch in any way. Like, this is just reality of my company, and I'm sure the reality of so many of your guys' company. I'm like, we have to get this done faster. And in tandem, right? I mean, let's keep it grounded. Like, we're building a business. We don't have like endless cash on hand, as some people may believe. Like, we're doing the best we can to keep all of our accounts to current and to grow at the speed of cash and borrow when we need to. So, 3 or 4 years ago, like I didn't have I don't know what the prices were, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for the biggest debris loader, but we made the sensible choice for us at the time to get us in the game. And it has made, a world of difference. Well, now the company's growing, the client portfolio is developed and changed over the last 2 or 3 years again, and we're due. So next year, spring, we're ready to invest into a dump trailer, make the good old big, leaf box with the plywood sides, get a 37 horsepower debris loader, because we need to. We just need to continue to eliminate bottlenecks. And again, when we have these huge commercial sites and HOA sites now, a cleanup is, $1,500 to $3,000, and we can't spend more than a day or two on site. The lines just don't cross. So to answer your question, like in a sentence, I guess, or less, but we need to continue to increase our efficiency, expand our capacity. We're talking about upgrading our P2000 to a Z3000 or an X3000 at least. But these are investments that we're looking to grow into, to cash flow into. And again, as our portfolio changes, like this is just the natural evolution of our business. Yeah.
Yeah, I find it, I think your experience, it's interesting. You learn these things from biting off a job that you just almost you can't get it done the way you think you can. You've got equipment, you can take on a job, but eventually everybody's going to take on something that's just beyond their reach.
Totally.
And it'll frustrate you to the point where you're like, I got to be able to do more. I got to be able to do more.
Yes.
And I think it encourages and it forces you into I know I can do more than this, and I know I can get this done faster. So you start to look for that next step. I feel like, and I don't know this, like I don't know if there's any statistics or data. I don't think anybody ever sits around and really analyzes this, but I feel like that's going to be one of the more common reasons why people stop and think, all right, it's time to upsize. It's because you bit off a job that you couldn't get done, and it held you back longer than you thought it was going to hold you back, and it just triggers you to start thinking about the next step. The evolution up and a jump, rather than sitting back and plotting and planning and like, I want to grow. Like, it's not really it's not a surgical mindset. It hits you that I'm not able to attain what I think I can. And it's time to get the next step up in equipment.
Well, I'd love to say that we all exclusively make rational decisions, Brandon. But I will tell you at that point, when it's like 50 degrees, crying out loud, it's 37 degrees, it's Michigan, it's March. We just got 2 inches of rain, the week before, and everything's matted down and wet. Ironically enough, like we've got the guys, we've got the team, we've got the labor. So like most guys are struggling with labor, broadly speaking. So I'm like, well, we've got the labor, thank the Lord. But I'm like, if our equipment is now the bottleneck, then that's a very rational decision to start making those upgrades. Now, at that time, emotionally, I was like, you know what? We're about to go buy a new debris loader today.
Exactly.
I was
that's
like,
the real stuff.
yeah, I was like, we are done. This is for the birds. And again, we definitely bit off more than we can chew. And it wasn't it wasn't, so the ironic thing, it wasn't anything with the capacity of the BillyGoat or the leaf blowers. It was just the conditions. And that's the problem. Like, sometimes you need to stretch the rubber band, right? Like, do you always need a DL37, a debris loader 37 horsepower, the big one? Probably not. But for those 1 in 10 jobs that, frustrate you and, piss you off, you're like, yeah, I do need that, because eventually you get those jobs. You don't want to leave that money on the table. And that's what he had recognized with this site. And ironically, the following spring, my mom had sold the property and she gave my number to the new homeowner, and the homeowner called me and said, hey, would you like to do a spring cleanup? And I said, absolutely not. I said, no. I said, because ironically enough, my equipment now is 2 minutes down the road. But, even in a best case scenario, and I priced it correctly, I was just frustrated with the site. And so we didn't tackle it. We haven't tackled it for a couple of years. And now I'm just thinking to myself, I'm regressing. I'm playing defense instead of having that hunter-killer offensive mindset to invest into the right equipment and to grow. And I'm thinking to myself, what are we doing here? Like, I'm not going to make a square peg fit in a round hole. We've got the cash. We've got the cash flow. We've got the clientele. We're timing it. Of course, I'm not going to plant corn in the winter. You're going to plant your corn in the spring. So we're going to finish up this season with the current setup that we have. And then as cash comes in, we're going to make those investments into the trailer, the dump trailer, the leaf box, the new BillyGoat products. Guys, I'm paying for them. Like, I'm excited to pay for them. We're going to pay for them out of pocket. This isn't a pitch here. I'm just telling you guys, this is the evolution of my equipment setup. And by the way, I say this stuff out loud. Some of you guys are a decade ahead of us with your guys' current leaf setup. But there's just so much money to be made in leaves around here. I'm just thinking to myself, all right, it's time to drop the hammer. Let's go. Let's reinvest. And let's open up those bottlenecks. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. And you brought up another key point, too, is the cost of not having it. Cost of not having the right equipment, and having to turn down jobs is probably the worst thing you want to do. I get it. Like, certain contractors, you're going to look at a job and like, no, that's just not who I am. That doesn't fit my niche. But when it is your niche and you have to say no to it because you don't have the right equipment, that's another step where it's like, that's a trigger. I know I need to upgrade my equipment because I'm turning down these jobs, and how many more of those are hanging out there that I would have to say no to if I don't have this?
And it's the extra money you're leaving on the table. I've had a lot of conversation. We have a private Facebook group with a membership, and tons of great conversations in there. And somebody was just asking the other day, what are folks? His city, the guy's town or city, they are no longer. The city is no longer offering curbside leaf cleanup in the fall. like our city the two cities I operate in will usually do a courtesy leaf cleanup twice. They'll do it maybe mid-October, and then again first week of November. But two things: as soon as Thanksgiving hits, or really even hunting season, but as soon as Thanksgiving hits or the first snowfall, they hang it up and they switch over to plowing snow. Rightfully so. Well, in this example, the other gentleman, his city's no longer offering this, and he's like, hey, I don't know if he had one or he's investing into a debris loader, but he was basically asking, like, does anybody in here charge just for a curbside leaf cleanup, and what do you guys charge? And we actually had that same thought about 2 years ago. I got leaf signs, yard signs made up just for curbside leaf cleanup, knowing that the city keeps mailing it in. No disrespect to those guys, but they're looking for the easiest out that they can get. And I said, you know what? $75, we'll come suck up your leaves curbside. They don't blow all back into your yard. And we get, I'd say, a half dozen to a dozen calls per year now when we put those signs out. Even if the city is going to come that week anyway, Brandon, like, people just want it, they want it done tomorrow or today. They don't want to wait a week for all the leaves to get blown back into their yard. So again, it's just we don't want to leave money on the table, especially like low hanging fruit, easy money. If I got a 29 or 27 or 37, whatever it is, horsepower debris loader, and I can go through, after hours, by the way, like at 5:30 at night, because like we don't really need to see too much curbside. We can always go pick up a couple curbside pickups after 8 to 4 prime time daylight. So we get the highest revenue production that we can during the day, and then the guys can go tag up 2 extra curbside leaf cleanups for $75 or $100. Like, guys, I'm just trying to give you some ideas to bring in some extra revenue. Like, what if you did 2 extra leaf cleanups curbside cleanups for $200 a day. That's 3 days a week. You did that. That's 600 extra bucks. Like that covers one dude's week's payroll. Like just because you spend an extra half hour sucking up some extra leaves curbside. So all this stuff becomes available on the table, I guess.
Yeah, and what's wonderful about that, right, is it leads you into the ultimate leaf cleanup package, is because when a neighborhood has something like that start to happen, and you see neighbors starting to get theirs picked up, and the city was done with the rest of them, and they're just laying there, and only select houses are getting their final leaves picked up.
Right.
The rest of the neighbors are all going to start to jump on board with this.
Yep.
And when they ultimately do, and you have to do an entire neighborhood cleanup, well, we got the machine for that too.
Yep.
That's a leaf dragon. That's a leaf dragon job all day long. Is just running right along the curb, right through a neighborhood. The big neighborhood cleanup, full thing that a municipality would typically take care of.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that dragon's for.
Love it.
That's so you can just go right down a 2 mile long curb with leaves piled all in the streets and just get them all with that big dragon. You're going to need a big truck when that day comes, or a big dump truck in order to haul all of those leaves. But the more you entice people in that neighborhood, the more of them will ultimately jump on with, I want it cleaned up today, and this guy's going to show up today.
Absolutely.
And that's going to keep pushing you towards the ultimate leaf cleanup solutions that we've got, like a Dragon or a Z3. So, yeah, we've touched them all.
Yeah.
We've walked through how you got started. We've walked through your first step, and then where you ultimately can find yourself as you keep attacking leaf cleanup. As you said, there's so much opportunity for it. The leaves always fall, and the trees only seem to get bigger every year. So it just keeps pushing more and more opportunity out there for cleaning up the leaves. So that's fantastic.
Well, I was going to say, as our company continues to grow, payroll continues to grow, overhead continues to grow, every dollar, you got to pay attention to. And, equipment, ironically enough, like pays for itself probably quicker more than anything else. You just got to make sure you're making the right investments out there. Labor is usually your biggest expense in a business, not the equipment. So, some people are always wondering or asking, we've had a lot of conversation about this. What are folks charging for just a stand on leaf blower that's on site? And some guys are like, hey, $85 a quote unquote man hour, $125 a man hour. Like these are items now that you can bill separately in your bids and quotes, and or of course, shore up labor and grow your efficiency on site. So, I mean, it's the best of both worlds with a lot of these products. Of course, the ones from BillyGoat especially. So I just invite you guys, whether you're going to, maybe some of your dealer houses, maybe they have some of the open houses in the fall. Of course, a lot of dealer open houses in the spring. Like, give them a fair shake, give them a good look. Frankly, you can find a lot of these machines secondhand, third hand, these days, because BillyGoat and the Hurricane platform has been out now for, a decade or two. So there's a unit, whether brand new or used, at least out there for everyone. And I'm telling you, for somebody that, we get a 3-4 week fall and maybe a 2 or 3 week spring, you know what I mean, Brandon? Like this is go mode for us. Like there's no days off. There's no late starts. There's no mailing it in a half hour early or 2 hours early, or, oh, there was a clipper rain system that came through. Like, no, we're going to go take a 1 hour lunch break, and then we're getting back out there and doing leaves. And you have to have the right equipment to get this portion of the business done as fast and efficiently as possible. I've thrown my own money into the game. We're going to throw a lot more. I can't wait. Our business is in a big growth mode. I'm spinning the dream for the guys. They're excited about getting the debris loader, the 37 horsepower one, building the dump trailer, building the big leaf box. We cannot wait. I mean, we've got some great videos on YouTube, by the way, of highlighting a little bit of all the above. So if you guys do want to, do your due diligence, go to, our YouTube channel. And then I'm sure, obviously, tons of great resources. Where can people find more information on all the BillyGoat products from your guys' end?
Well, of course, there's always our website, www.billygoat.com. And like you had mentioned, check out your local dealer. We're in, I think, around 2,000 dealerships in North America. So it's pretty easy to find us a dealer locator on our website. There's going to be one most likely very nearby you that you could pop into, get some literature on if you don't want to use a website.
There you go.
But the website's the biggest and easiest to reach place for all BillyGoat information. 100%.
Love it. And by the way, coming up, timely announcement, BillyGoat, of course, Equip Expo down in Louisville. I believe the dates are October 15th through the 18th. But you guys are usually there with the whole, if you zoom out one notch, guys, the Briggs and Stratton, family owns multiple different brands. Ferris, of course, a lot of you guys use Ferris. They have a great booth. Last year, you guys had this like bad to the bone LED wall. It was the coolest thing I think I've seen. It looked like an automotive. We have like the Detroit Auto Show here. So I'm used to, big trade shows, big booths, big automotive things. Like it's so cool. The wow factor is obviously a 10. But BillyGoat and the Briggs team had this LED light up wall. It looked like a consumer electronics show, like kind of a deal. It was the coolest thing ever. We did a little interview. They threw my logo up on this digital LED wall, and it looked like, I don't know if there's 4K and then 8K and then like 16K. I don't know how Ks work, but it was the most crisp, vibrant visual of our logo ever. And I was just like a moth to a flame. I was like, damn, like that's a really cool. I've never seen my logo that big in that detail. So it was the coolest booth. They had a lot of great stuff going on. They were doing these live streams on Facebook, and everybody just had a great time. It was a really, really cool group of people. So you guys going to be running it back, of course, this year, Brandon? We'll see the whole team down there.
Oh yeah, 100%. We look forward to this one. I mean, this is our biggest event, biggest national event that we attend. We bring the entire team, the whole sales team, marketing, product. We bring a lot of people there, all of our experts. The majority of us, I mean, you'll see people inside if you want to do just a general walk around of what's new and get some information on Briggs, BillyGoat, Ferris. But in the outdoor booth, that's where the magic is. That's where the action is. That's where the fun is.
There you go.
Especially when you're putting your hands on very, very unique products. Like there's lots and lots of zero-turn mowers and machines running around that whole facility. When you come into a BillyGoat booth, you're going to put your hands on an aerator, an overseeder, a side cutter, that ride the big blowers around. Like we want to give everybody kind of that personal one-on-one demo experience and walk you through all of our product line, how it can help you with your business, how it helps you grow, what's different about it, what makes it so easy to use, and why you would want to buy BillyGoat. Like we take that very, very personally when we go to equip and we want to do demos. Like that's something that we pride ourselves on, doing a very, very diligent job on demoing people through our portfolio. And everybody that's out there has an expertise to be able to talk to you about the whys, the whats, the hows of all the products that we have. So 100% stop by, put your hands on the equipment. Don't be afraid of it. It's a lot of fun to run once you play around with it a little bit.
Amen to that. I love it. Love it. Well, if you guys haven't got your equip tickets, make sure you guys get those today. Go on down and check out all your favorite brands and booths, and then do us a big favor. Go check out the BillyGoat, family. Give them a high five. Say, hey, thanks for spending some time pouring into the Brian's Law Maintenance YouTube channel, the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. They are sponsors and partners in a couple different fashions here. We're going to have some great content coming down the pike here on YouTube later this next couple months or so, and in the fall. So you guys will be able to check out the rest of the product line that Brandon was alluding to. And again, I super appreciate the support and the partnership with some of our major brands and friends. We couldn't do it without them. We couldn't keep the podcast coming without that kind of support. We couldn't keep the YouTube channel alive. These things take time and money. And so that being said, like I'm just super grateful for BillyGoat's continued partnership going on for 3 or 4 years, after we actually spent our own hard-earned cash. I mean, that's just a great brand. So we believe in them. They believe in what we're doing, which is believing in what you guys are doing out there. And so we can't thank you guys enough for listening in. And, again, we always say support the sponsors that support the show. So next time you guys are looking for any of these great products in your lineup, check out what BillyGoat has to offer. I think you guys will be really, really impressed. So, Brandon, again, always a great time. No hard pitch here on anything. It's just nice getting to talk to some different friends, part of more the industry and even the company side, and just get a pulse, check, get the lay of the land. Super appreciate you weighing in and sharing in. It's always a great time getting to catch up with you. If there's any final thoughts, I'll leave them with you, and you can button this thing up, man. So thanks again.
Oh, yeah. No, again, like I started off the show with, it's always good to be on. It's always good to talk to you and to get things real talk and chat through what's going on in the world and what we can do to help solve your problems and help make you more productive. So, I mean, we continue to strive to make our machines the next step, the next thing that's coming, as best as they can be. The attachments that are coming this year for P2 with the leaf plows and forward blows, look for those. I mean, those are game changers and simple add-ons.
Heck yeah.
But we continue to strive and continue to push. We won't stop. And we won't stop until until there's nothing else left to innovate on. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
That's right. That's right.
We're just not going to stop.
Well, we won't stop until all the leaves are picked up. And when I've got some friends in, I think it's like New Kingston area, Rhode Island. And I literally was joking with my friend Sean. I said, dude, I am coming to Rhode Island just to do leaf cleanup. I mean, the amount of, all I saw was dollar bills. You know what I mean? The crazy like legacy trees, 100, 200 foot tall trees, you know, very mature trees, and the amount of leaves on the ground. I'm like, I literally was like, we're going to relocate, me and my guys, for 6 weeks. Like utility workers that travel after a hurricane or something, or a hailstorm. I'm like, we're going to storm chase to the New England states and just do leaf cleanups. It's absolutely wild out there. So a lot of money to be made, and we won't stop until the last leaf is picked up off the ground. Amen. So there you go.
Amen.
All right. Well, cool deal. Well, guys, as always, hope you appreciate the casualness, getting to hang out with Brandon. Again, love having some great folks on. If we can ever do anything for you guys, shoot us an email, shoot us a DM. We're always here for you. We'll leave links in the description so you guys can check out more from BillyGoat. But that's what I got for you guys here on today's podcast episode here on the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. You guys have a great rest of the day, and we'll catch up with you guys here on the next one.
Get ready for the event of the year. L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2024 is coming to Novi, Michigan, the weekend of November 2nd. Prepare for a high-energy day packed with expert sessions on cash flow management, business automation, client retention, marketing strategies, and so much more. Our powerhouse lineup of speakers includes Sam Rankin, Pat Murray, Ken Deemer, Brian Fullerton, Sam Gimbel, Mark Bradley, and Jeff Joyner. You'll connect with industry leaders, snag incredible giveaways, and skyrocket your business. Plus, don't miss our epic Friday night mixer for top-tier networking and fun. For those who want to enhance their experience, register for our exclusive Sunday Masterclass sessions on November 3rd, featuring Jeff Joyner, Mark Bradley, and Sam Gimbel. These intensive 3-hour classes are limited to just 20 seats each, giving you personalized expert advice from the best in the business. Hurry, secure your Saturday tickets for only $249 right on through September 17th. Then the price jumps to $297. Visit l'entrepreneuracademy.com to register and reserve your masterclass spot for an additional fee. Isn't it time you grew your business? Don't miss L'Entrepreneur Academy Live. There's a link in the show description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.